I don't know why I'm not showing up.
I can see you.
I can see you.
Oh, good. I don't want to see me, so that's good.
Okay, and I think we're live, so you're good to go.
Good afternoon. I am Rebecca Sander and serve as chair of the Practice IV Therapy Advisory Committee of the Kansas State Board of Nursing. I ask the members of the Practice IV Therapy Advisory Committee to respond to a roll call to show their presence at this open meeting being held remotely by Zoom and YouTube. Andrea Watson. I thought I saw her.
Sorry, I'm present. I couldn't find my unmute.
That's okay. Adri Goldsmith.
Present.
Gwendolyn Lloyd. I do believe she notified us that she wasn't able to attend. Jeannie Gerstenskorn.
Present.
Christina Blanton. Julie Brown. Sharon Morris. We might go back and check with those here in a little bit just to make sure. I also ask the following board staff members to signify their attendance. Linda Davies, practice specialist.
Present.
Chelsea Stevenson, education specialist.
Present.
Victoria Bond, administrative specialist.
Present.
I might go back up and see if anybody else has gotten on since we've done attendance. Christina Blanton. Julie Brown. Sharon Morris. Okay, we'll go on. Public comment allows individuals to address the Practice IV Therapy Advisory Committee about their concerns, but the Kansas Open Meeting Act, which is known as KOMA, does not require the committee to provide public comment or answer questions from individuals. Public comment will not be taken today because there is the possibility that the connection for this remote meeting may be lost over time, and the time for the meeting may not allow everyone who is present to comment. Additionally, we will not know what comments an individual may make, and we would want to provide notice to the public of our intent to discuss a particular matter so that the public may listen and observe our discussion. Because we are conducting this public meeting remotely by Zoom and YouTube, I state for the record the following information. On June the 3rd, 2021, the board sent notice of the meeting for the Practice IV Therapy Advisory Committee to all individuals who have requested notice of the committee's meetings. Additionally, the notice and agenda were posted on the board's website, ksbn.kansas.gov. You may obtain a copy of the notice and agenda at the website or by sending an email to Kara Moreland at ks.gov with the subject line request for the agenda, and the board staff will send it to you. The notice contains the internet links to access the meeting by Zoom and YouTube. The notice also contains the Zoom telephone number to attend the meeting by telephone call. Each of these electronic mediums allows the public to attend this meeting free of charge. The notice also advises individuals to contact the board's office at 785-296-2967 if they experience any technical issues during the meeting. The state of disaster emergency due to the COVID-19 pandemic will expire on June the 15th, 2021. Because the requirements of KOMA are not suspended, we will be conducting this meeting pursuant to the KOMA and KAR 16-20-1 concerning compliance with the KOMA during an emergency declaration. The only mediums for interactive communication offered for this meeting are the connections by Zoom and YouTube, as previously stated. Each member of the committee, board staff, or presenter shall state the person's name and the title each time the person speaks or votes, as the case may be. Each participant to this meeting shall ensure microphones, phones, or other electronic devices are on mute when the participant is not speaking. Each motion will be clearly stated before the committee votes, and the chair will announce the results of the final vote. A statement or motion will clearly identify and authorize by delegation each member of the committee or staff who will be permitted to sign any document on behalf of the committee. The meeting is being recorded and the recording will be posted to the board's website. The committee has the following items listed on its agenda: call to order, review on-site packet, additions or revisions to agenda, announcements, approval of minutes for the meetings held in March 2021, practice, IV therapy, agenda for committee meeting September 2021, adjournment. Although the agenda does not include an executive session, if the committee elects to exercise the option to go into executive session, the committee will follow this process. First, the committee must be in an open session before going into an executive session. Then a motion will be made and seconded. Pursuant to KSA 75-4319B, the motion must contain the statement of justification for closure, the subjects to be discussed, and the time and place that the open meeting will reconvene. If a motion for executive session passes, public will be excluded from this portion of the meeting, as the executive session will be conducted by electronic means that will not be made available to the public. The committee members will return to the open meeting after the executive session. The open meeting will resume when the committee members return to the Zoom and YouTube meeting after the executive session. The complete motion for an executive session will be recorded in the minutes. The meeting is now called to order and the committee will now consider the next item on the agenda. So we have, next is the review of on-site packet. Was there anything in there? Ladies?
Madam Chair, there is no on-site.
Okay,
packet.
I didn't
And
think.
I believe Sharon Morris has joined.
Oh, great.
I don't know if anybody else has.
Welcome, Sharon. Okay, are there any additions or revisions to the agenda? And don't we have a little correction on the numbers?
Yeah, Madam Chair, this is Linda Davies, practice specialist. There's one revision and 2 additions that occur under number 6, unfinished business.
Okay,
It should read, for the revision, KAR 60-3-103 is listed on the agenda, but not up for review at this time, so it needs removed from the agenda.
which one was that, Linda?
60-3-103.
103. Yeah, okay,
That one needs removed. The other 2 are fine, and then we need to add 2 others.
okay,
One is KAR 60-7-102. And it's in the committee packet. It's just not on the agenda. And the other one that we need to add to the agenda is KAR 60-7-103.
okay.
Thank you. I apologize.
No problem, no problem. Any other additions or revisions? So are we good? Do we need a motion then to approve those? That? Chelsea or Victoria, do we need to make a
I
motion
do
to
have-
approve that?
Yeah, there needs to be a motion. I think Victoria.
Yeah, I have
has
a motion if everybody's ready.
Okay, thank you,
Is there
Victoria.
a member on the committee? Yeah. Is there a member on the committee who would like to make a motion to move to approve the agenda as amended?
This is Jeannie. I will.
Thank you, Jeannie. It's been moved. Is there a second to the motion?
This is Andrea Watson. I'll second.
Thank you, Andrea. It is moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion is carried. Okay, we'll move on to announcements. Any announcements this afternoon?
Madam Chair, this is Linda again, and I would just like to introduce the newest member of our nurse investigator team, Richard Young. Mr. Young has a distinguished military career, was former EMS before he became a registered nurse, and he started with KSPN on June 1st.
Nice to meet everybody.
Welcome. Thank you. Okay, now we'll move on to the approval of the minutes for March the 23rd, 2021. Did everybody get a chance to read those? Okay, hearing None. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes?
This is Sharon. I'll move to approve the minutes.
Is there a second to that motion?
This is Andrea. I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Sorry, Victoria, we didn't give you an opportunity to read the motion. Is that okay? Sorry. Okay, now we're going to move on to practice. Under practice, we have the unfinished business of the there's 4 of them. 4 of those legislative review statutes we need to look at, and in the packet, they were in your packet and they were correctly listed in there. The first one was the 60-3-102, which is the duplicate of the license. And this is the nursing. This statute comes out underneath the nursing and not the mental health tech one. So as I read these, I have to kind of keep thinking, what license are we talking about? But this is the nursing one. And my question was that since we're now doing electronic and no paper, do we ever anymore issue a nursing license in paper?
I haven't seen one as an
No.
employer. I haven't seen one in years. So I guess that would be a question for the board, but I don't know if that practice.
Well, if something no longer exists, how do we take care of a statute that addresses something that no longer exists? Does anybody know?
Madam Chair, this is Carol Moreland.
Oh, there's Carol.
And-
Hi, Carol.
Hi. No, we do not issue paper licenses. The chance for fraud is much more than it used to be. So for that reason, now that's not to say that they can't go print off their own license. They can do that off from our website. However, we don't do duplicate licenses. So if you want, I can pursue getting this one revoked. That's what happens if you no longer need the regulation. Is there's a process to get it revoked.
Wow. Have you ever had to do that, Carol,
No.
in your
but,
tenure?
we could do with a few less regulations probably.
I have
No,
attempted. I have
haven't.
attempted it in the past. I can tell you it's much easy. It's about as easy to get it revoked as it is to get it passed.
Really?
Everything is very difficult, but yeah, we do not issue a duplicate
A
license.
duplicate.
Yeah.
I think there's an easy case in this. I mean, there's no case for keeping it when you aren't even producing it.
Right.
The problem that we run into is it talks about the fees specified in KSA 651118. Okay, that's a statute. So to get that fee taken out has to be through the legislature. That's not something we can just do. So I don't know how much you want this revoked and stuff like that.
You have
It's kind of all
no.
tied together.
What happens if we
Maybe-
just leave it in there? It just don't. It just doesn't apply anymore, but it's still in there. Could it stay in there forever, even though it doesn't apply anymore?
Well, it will stay in there until it's revoked.
Yeah, but yeah, it's true. How long does it take to get revoked? Couple years?
I don't know. I've never done that, Ben.
I know.
I'm sure it takes a little while, probably.
I think
Well, you
that
know, you're
there's a special process and committee that handles that kind of thing. I think this would be a fairly easy sell.
Really. to revoke it?
Considering we don't issue them in the first place anymore, that's kind of,
Well,
yeah,
I know.
it's a process thing, but I don't think there'd be a whole lot of argument against it. And I think the next statute is similar. The next one we're looking at is the same one for,
It's the licensed mental health tech one. It's the same.
yeah.
It is the same for them too. So they're both similar in that
So, all at one
paper's no
time.
longer, yeah, it's no longer used.
If you
I'll
would
just-
like me to, I can do a little bit more investigation about all this and bring it back in September. If you would like that.
What's the preference of the group? Do you think before we just axe it that we better do our homework first before we do it? Because we've never done that before. It's strange that we actually ran into something that we no longer need. We're so used to these, everything we do being our guidance here is our statutes and regulations, and now we ran into something we don't even need it, but it makes you uncomfortable to totally throw it out the window without doing homework first before we act on it, but it's up to the group.
Yeah, I mean, I think we could look at what I have tried to do it with like sickle cell testing in schools, and the fact that it's
Oh,
done routinely, you know, the information is given routinely in health offices. Is that something that needs to be handled in the schools? And it's
Yeah.
kind of outdated. There's a special calendar, and there's a process, as I recall from my work in that area.
well, what's your opinion about just going ahead and revoking both of them because they don't apply anymore?
I would
Or should
agree with making the attempt. The worst that can happen is they say no, or you know, I mean, other than, I guess the worst that can happen is it ties up your time and efforts, you know, in making that.
I'm just not sure, this is Carol Moreland, I'm just not sure the impact that has on KSA 651118, because the
Yeah.
fees are specified in there. So if we truly revoke this and that fee is still in there, does that mean that that statute has to go next year? That's why I want to try to
But
find
yeah,
out a little bit
yeah,
more
You better do that
possibly.
then. So why
Yeah.
don't we on 60-3102 and 60-7102, why don't we check that out? Because they are connected to another statute.
Yeah, they are.
Just to
Yeah.
see what happens. It's a domino thing is what you're saying, right, Carol?
Yeah, it may. I'm just not
It may,
sure.
yeah.
And I don't want to revoke this only to find out that then there's a problem because it still shows up in those statutes. That's all
Right.
I'm saying.
It's a good point. Okay. So for this one, let's bring it back in September then, after some further research. And Victoria, are you doing the motions on these?
Yeah, I have the motions going for him.
Okay.
If we're just doing it in September, we won't need to make one for now.
Okay, well, good. That one and the next one, let's do that because they are connected to statutes, other statutes. Is everybody in agreement with that, committee members? Sound good? Okay, the third one on our list of review is the 60-7-103. It's change of name. And this is for the licensed mental health tech one. We approved the one for the nurses, licensed nursing. And this is the mental health tech one. And I had a little note on here about needing some kind of a time frame. And on the on the nursing license, their statute mentions 30 days, within 30 days of the name change. And I was wondering if we needed to add that sentence to this one. Because all it says now is you need to do it. It doesn't really tell them by when.
For consistency, it does need to be the same as
Yeah.
far as, I agree with you on that.
Well, they'll never do it if there's no timeline, I would think. You keep telling them, and you have to have a timeline.
Do you need a motion for that?
Well, I'll have to, I did take the language from the nursing side to add that, and this is what it says, just make sure that it's gonna apply and be okay. The second sentence would say, the applicant or licensee shall submit the document to the board within 30 days of the change. Is it us? It would be us too, right, Victoria, of the change for licensed mental health people? Is that right, Victoria or Chelsea, whoever oversees a little bit of the licensed mental health tech population?
Madam Chair, this is Carol. How about if I worked on the revision to this and bring it back in September?
Okay.
Because I want everybody to see it, what the revision's going to look like. Would that be okay?
Who do they send all this licensed mental health tech side? Who do they send? Whom in the department do they send stuff like this to? Who would they send it to?
Well, we have a staff member who handles change of name and all of that.
Okay.
It's not separated versus
Okay.
nursing and LMHT. It truly is more the, are they changing name? Are they submitting an initial application?
Okay.
Are they submitting a renewal? It's more tied
Okay.
to that, not.
I've always wondered how that is, because wasn't licensed mental health tech not existent for a while and then it resurrected again? Is that correct?
Well, it's always been with us for a number of years. We did not have any programs for a while.
Okay. That's what it
and then
was.
they Osawatomie State Hospital started up a program. Yeah,
Okay.
because it's the licensed mental health technicians are utilized at the state hospitals for the
Mhm.
most part. So they felt the need for staffing to start their own program,
Okay.
which they did. And now there's a satellite in Larned.
In Larned,
and they
okay.
also use them. Yeah.
Great. I've always wondered if they were held separately or it's all under one umbrella, because the statutes are kind of different and the same, so I always wondered if they needed to kind of be similar because they're all under one umbrella statute. So, okay, that's fine with me if you want to work on this one and bring it back in September also. Okay, and then the fourth statute was the unprofessional conduct, that's 60-7-106, which brings a question that I had. We're working on some revisions to the unprofessional conduct under the nursing side. And my question was, I know that's under the investigative committee. That was on their list of regulations that they regularly review. And it doesn't make sense to me to have two separate ones. And should they kind of all be the same? The licensed mental health unprofessional conduct and the nursing unprofessional conduct, shouldn't they all just be one document? Or do they have to be separate?
Okay, this is Carol again, and you have to understand in the Nurse Practice Act, there is a Licensed Mental Health Technician Act that's part
Oh, so
of the Nurse Practice Act. So they are separate. I mean, I don't think you can just, well, we've never put them all together, because the licensed mental health, they do, and that's why we get the 60-7, because there is a Licensed Mental Health Technician Act in the Nurse Practice Act.
Right.
So if you're talking about doing that, that's very different than how we've ever done it. But not to say that we can't, but.
So should there?
Because, if you look at 65-4201, this act may be cited as the Mental Health Technicians Licensure Act. So it starts the Licensed Mental Health Technician Act. So if you're going to combine it with nursing, that's I don't know.
No, I didn't mean necessarily combine it, but some of
Okay,
these
I'm
like
sorry.
professional conduct, like your duplicated licenses, some of that stuff just sounds like it's procedurally the same as what, nursing does. And also unprofessional conduct should also be kind of the same rules under them as it is under the nursing.
This is
So we're-
Linda, and I think what you're trying to say is that you want to review the KAR 60-7106 by the investigative committee rather
Right.
than practice committee, so that you can catch or change things to kind of be more consistent with unprofessional conduct for either nurse or licensed
Or
mental health
mental health.
technician.
Right.
Since those type of complaints that come in will go to the investigative committee to determine discipline. So I think what you're wanting is to really not necessarily combine or change anything except which committee is going to review the regulation, if I am understanding
And I
correctly.
think we were concerned that there be consistency between,
Right.
that they not go in two different directions or one have.
If the wording verbiage was more the same, it would be less likely to be on the fence.
Yeah, and we're in the process now of, we're revising the nursing one at the moment. And so my question is, when it's done and passed by the board, whenever that's going to be, should that be compared to the licensed mental health one so that everything reads parallel, the same, so that there's just not totally two different policy regulations? Because as I was reading through here, it sounds almost similar to the nursing one. And maybe it is similar to the nursing one. I haven't had a chance to sit down and compare them side by side to see what's different in the expectations of unprofessional conduct under the licensed mental health tech versus the nursing. And Carol, do you know, was this written from scratch, or did they template it from the nursing when they whoever wrote this statute, did they
Oh, no.
template it from the nursing? Do you know?
I don't
don't
know.
know?
I mean, let me see what the date, because this doesn't have the date on it, but it was actually looked at
I
last
guess I don't have a
when
page.
it's printed this way. Let me look in the Nurse Practice Act here. I guess I'm sorry, maybe I misunderstood, because I understand that you want them to mirror, but then you also say, two separate ones. And so
Well, I don't know if you need two
I don't-
separate ones. That's my question. I don't have any idea, but maybe you do, because it's a total different program.
I can
It
see
looks
based
like in the
on,
Nurse Practice Act that this one was last amended April 29th of 2016. So something was changed.
Okay.
I don't know. I wasn't involved with it, so I'm not sure what was changed. I just have to go back in the history and look, and I don't know that off the top of my head. Sorry.
So 5 years, it would be 5 years ago, wouldn't it be? Yeah, it's 5 years ago, they did change something. So this committee has every 5 years looked at the unprofessional conduct and did changes if as needed.
Yeah, there was obviously something in here that they changed, but
Okay.
without going back and comparing the one that we have archived, I can't. I'm sorry, I don't know what it was. I wasn't involved with it.
Okay. Well, this is kind of, there's a lot on here, and I don't know if everybody has had a lot of time prior to the meeting to really read through here. I kind of did, not yesterday, not real recently, but we can, as a group go through this and revise it today, or everybody could look at it really in depth and see if there's any more to say about a professional contact. I think off the top of my head, I would like to see what all we changed for the nursing side, on their unprofessional conduct, just to see if it might spill over or apply to this document for licensed mental health techs. I can't, off the top of my head, I can't remember how many of the changes we made on the unprofessional conduct in the other committee, how much might apply to a change on here, and maybe it doesn't, because nursing and licensed mental health are kind of different but the same.
This is Andrea. I think on the same lines that you're just speaking of, I'm not sure the value necessarily of walking through this right now, step by step, if we think that there, I do think there's a point of mirroring to the extent that it applies the nursing for unprofessional conduct. So, based on this conversation so far, I'm not sure that we should proceed with making changes to this for licensed mental health if we're looking, what we're truly looking at is having consistency.
Right. Now, should we table this one until September?
Just kind of FYI for your information, you don't have all of the.
We don't?
No, if you look at the bottom of page 10, it says, or a combination of these. There's nothing else.
Oh.
You actually, what stops in here is small letters S, and our Nurse Practice Act goes clear through small double A. So that's why you don't have the rest of this in your packet.
Well,
That's why I
it says-
couldn't figure out what the amended date, because it wasn't on here.
That's true. And it says
So you're
page 2 of
missing
3.
part of this, just FYI.
Yeah, we are missing page 3. There is a 2 of 3. We are missing the back, the last page.
Yeah, you're missing part of it. Yeah, that has
You know,
more
and all-
information.
Then we do have to, let's just table this until September, and really read it and go through it. And I might kind of compare it to the other one that's getting currently in the process of getting revisions to it, just to see if anything that's been changed on the other one needs to come over to this one. And it may not. But I'm just kind of curious, just so that they're consistently, the two documents are pretty consistent in language.
Yeah, I think it would be helpful to have someone compare the two and then bring
I'm curious
the
now.
information back about what's the difference. Yeah.
I'll do that. I'll make me a note to do that. And I'll bring it back in September just to see what little tweaks was done in the other committee, and see if we need to apply those to this one. And if not, we won't. Okay. Okay. So that was easy. Did we kind of table them all? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, we did, didn't we? Okay. That was easy. We're not going to be voting today on any of these. Moving on to new business. Is there any new business?
Madam Chair, there is no new business for practice.
Thank you. IV therapy. The unfinished business was the updated IV therapy test questions. Carol?
Actually, that's Chelsea.
Chelsea, okay.
So in your packet, you will see, I have included a summary of an IV therapy test question survey that we recently sent out to all of our IV therapy providers. There had been some interest and concerns shared with us about wanting to change or update the questions, the IV therapy test pool questions. So we sent a short survey to all 24 IV therapy providers. We had some response. It was not a large response, but we did hear back from some. You'll see in your packet A majority of who did complete the survey said that they do believe that the questions need to be updated. I had a few suggestions there that you'll see about questions or topics that they feel like should be included. They feel like right now they're very basic, generic questions. And then we also asked if they would be interested in joining a task force if the committee and board decided to move forward with updating the questions. And we did have 2 participants provide their contact information and indicated that they would be interested in participating in that task force. So I just wanted to provide you with that information, and I'm here for any direction from the committee.
I think since we've heard from people that are actually using it and teaching the programs that there is some need for updating some of the components of the test, that we should go ahead and proceed with that. It seems like less taking away and more adding a few more questions about practice.
I like the suggestion of the critical thinking questions. That was a good one. Or giving them a scenario or 2 or something like that. Can I ask a question of Carol? I think you know the answer, Carol. Will the IV therapy component, education component, be in all the LPN curriculums in the state eventually, someday, soon?
It's up to the
Okay.
PN programs whether they want to institute it or not.
So that's still voluntary. It's not mandatory. Okay. So there'll probably forever maybe some IV separate class not embedded in the curriculum then.
Some providers, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would imagine. Yeah.
Okay. Well, then I think we need to kind of move forward then if they're wanting some revisions. Is that what they're asking for? Some revisions or some overview of that test? And there's some people that volunteered.
Yeah. So there are 2 providers that have volunteered to serve on a task force. I don't know then, Carol or Becky, if we then pair them with committee, have some committee members or staff members be a part of that task force as well. And I'm certainly happy to help in any way with that conversation. But the 2 that have volunteered, I know are extremely willing and eager to participate in it. So we could probably move forward pretty quickly and get their thoughts at least.
That's great. I think, yay, you have some volunteers.
Yeah.
Well, if they're that interested, maybe they might even have some other people also that didn't do the survey or didn't leave, information with you to be appointed to help. Then it could turn out to be a great adventure. Okay. Oh, I like the idea of putting together task force or committee or whatever we want to call them to see if they can look at them.
I can read
Revise
that. Carol, how does this kind of move forward?
I believe in the past when this was done, there was some committee members that also were on there. Chelsea could certainly help, but I don't know if there would be a committee member or 2 who would be interested. Maybe one committee member that would keep it, just one out of probably all of you. I don't know if there's anybody interested in helping to serve on that.
How many, and I'm sorry if I missed this previously, but how many questions are there currently? I see comments about that there are few. I mean, are we looking to provide some also parameters? So if there are 10, do they want 5 additional? Like what's the test currently?
I believe we have a pool of 50, Carol. Is that, I'm trying to remember off the top of my head.
Yeah, we actually have 2 versions of the test, and I believe there's 50 questions, and they have to do like a security form and all of that before we actually give the test out. And it only goes to like the coordinator of the program. And it's been a number of years since this has been revisited. So
How many questions at a time or does the person take?
I believe 50.
Oh, 50, okay.
I believe.
Were those all handwritten at one point in time then by people and
I,
don't know?
I'm sorry, I wasn't involved with that, so I don't. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, it's always a good thing to update test questions because you know how it is in academia. Yeah. You have to stay on top of that and have a constant turnover because then pretty much they get old and everybody knows the answers to them. Is anybody on the committee interested in helping out with whoever providers are that are also going to get together? Don't everybody talk at once. I could help them. I love writing test questions. I'm not an LPN though, and I haven't taught the course. I know what the curriculum looks like. I've seen it and assisted a little bit at NCK here in Hayes, but I'm not an expert by no means, but I would be willing to work with the providers. Okay.
Becky, what I will do is email them and you, if that's okay.
Okay.
It will probably be a few to several weeks out, if that's okay.
Oh, yeah.
I'll be on medical leave this week for a while. So once I return, I can kind of get the ball rolling and then maybe we can come back in September with some suggestions from the task force, if that's okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, under new business is the IV therapy LPN curriculum.
So I just wanted to provide a little bit of data with you all. We have begun to receive LPN curriculum rosters from the nursing programs that have implemented IV therapy as a part of their curriculum. This information in your packet is, of course, outdated now. So I will just tell you that as of today, I have received rosters with 169 students graduated. 33 of those 169 have been licensed. Certifying them is somewhat of a tedious process. I'm going in weekly to check the new grads to see if they have been licensed, because of course they are all licensed at different times. So I'm checking weekly and then adding that certification to their license as they are licensed. And that 169, the first cohort came through in December of 2020 through today, as I mentioned. So we are busy getting them certified, and once they are licensed, they want that certification. So we are checking as often as we can to get them taken care of.
Okay. Is there no other comments or business? Because now we're moving into agenda for September. And outside of moving forward with the 4 regulations for review, that's going to be added and you're going to give an update on the IV therapy committee, test question group, whatever we're going to call them. Okay. Is there anything else on the agenda we need to put down? Practice and IV, neither one of them. Okay, I guess we need a motion for adjournment if no one has anything else to add. Is there a motion somebody's going to read?
I have one if you're ready. Is there a member on the committee who would like to make a motion to adjourn?
This is Andrea Watson. I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Andrea.
This is
Is there a
Sharon
second?
Morris. This is Sharon Morris. I'll second it.
Thank you, Sharon. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, aye. Say
Aye.
aye. Motion carried. No meetings adjourned. We'll see you, everybody, in September. Have a great rest of your day, everybody.
You too.